Second. All right, we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Quickie Chat. I am Tressa with Radical Transformation with T, and this is Maisha. You can go.
I thought you were introducing the thing. And this is the
No.
Quickie Chat. And I am Devi Maisha. I am Sensual Energy Alchemist, owner of Sensual Energy Alchemy LLC, where I guide Black women into their confidence and power through pleasure. Excited to be here.
If y'all hear me turning off the mic, all of a sudden the dog decided he wants to be on the conversation. Okay, Maisha, thank you for showing up. This is our next to the last one. We have Delores SImmons. She came last year. That was her first time. She is going to be talking with us today. But in the meantime, we are gonna just get started. Yeah. So, um, Maisha, tell me something you would want to know if you had never been to the retreat. What's something you would want to know?
Something I would want to know if I had, I'm trying to think, because if I saw your retreat and I wasn't teaching, I would still go. Um, and what's something, was the first thing that popped into my mind was the food, because I think food is really important at a retreat. Having been and hosted, like the food can make or break a retreat.
For real.
Yeah, so I would want to know about the food first and foremost. And then like the sleeping arrangements, like where am I sleeping? Is it going to be comfortable? Is it going to be, pretty? Those are the two things that I would want to know.
So that's good because now that you gave me your answer, I'm going to answer those questions. And one of them, Delores is probably going to talk about. She loved Erica's food. However, she was not used to just vegetarian food. But Erica picked up on that. And so Erica said, go get you a sandwich or something one day. And she was great. She was great. She's just not a vegetarian. And she took a chance and she talked about how beautiful the food is. So she's asking Erica to make stuff so she can come and eat when she comes back. So that's my point. The food is good. Erica makes a lot of different dishes. Women have kind of their idea of what they remember and what they want to be made. And so it makes a difference. I know the first retreat we had, it was vegetarian. I should say this one was more vegan. The second one, last year, was more vegan. The first one we had eggs and I think like salmon and a lot of
Yeah.
vegetarian dishes. And
We
this
had we had
time,
eggs. We had eggs this time too, I think.
oh, okay. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
breakfast. Mhm.
but we didn't have any other meat. And so it was good. It was really delicious. And the very first one we had turkey and things like that. So this
Yeah.
meal will be mostly uh it'll be vegetarian. There may be some salmon and there may be some eggs, but for the most part, it'll be a big spread of a whole bunch of food like we had last time, and it's always good. So we have two chefs coming. The sleeping arrangements. There are 32 beds, and everybody pretty much gets their own bed. Um, the place is resort style. So, Tasha, do you have those pictures?
I'm so
Um,
excited.
I
I'm
know
literally,
it's
I'm literally trying to boot them up now. I'm having some
okay.
double
That's
streaming.
okay.
It'll pop up though.
So there is a huge pool. There is a tennis court, a basketball court. There is a game room where you can play if you play cards, any kind of cards seems like you want. There's a blocker where you can hit that ball. There looks like, if I'm not mistaken, there's like a mini golf thing. Um, up the hill, up the mountain, but it's not really. They say that you could hike. It's not like going up rocks. Let's see what else that I can tell you. Um,
Do you remember my question I asked? Can we swim in the pool naked?
yes, you can. You can swim in the pool naked. For the Blue Water photo shoot, you can get naked. Yes, we've always encouraged women to just be themselves. Um, there's a hot tub. There's another house that it's like a winding river, but also on the property is these beautiful landscaping where it looks like streams of water is just running down the rocks. So yeah, that's kind of where and usually it's depending on how many beds are in a room, but like I said, everybody gets their own room. I mean, sorry, their own bed. So yeah, let's see what I would want to know. And let's see if you can answer this question, Maisha. Um what you gonna be teaching this year? Because
Right? What am I teaching this year? So I'm not giving it all away. There are very specific exercises that I know that I'm gonna have the women do. There are
okay,
some
okay.
things that I would really love to do. And
Yes,
we'll see how folks feel when I get there.
yes,
But
yes,
but definitely we're going to there will be something around releasing anger, because we need that.
yes,
As
yes.
Black women, there's a lot going on, and we need to dispel some of that energy. And then also there's gonna look, I'm all about sensuality, so there are gonna be some
Yes.
embodiment practices for the women to do. I want to take it up a notch a little bit this year. There's gonna be some sound and breath work and working through some
Ooh.
things, but then release at the end.
Let me tell
Some
you how powerful that is. That is so powerful. I can't wait. I remember when I did a retreat, my first, was it my first? Well, actually, my first and second retreat. Jay English had some sound and stuff going. And all it did was built the energy. Because I
yes.
literally felt that Kundalini energy shoot out the bottom of I felt it shoot out of me and it went down. And the second time I went to the second treat about a month later, I literally felt it rolling up my head and shooting out. And
Mm,
it was the energy of what you're talking about, but also all that, um, the sound. That
mhm,
sound did something. It was like, I don't know, it was like making the energy just become the speed up. I don't know how to explain it. I am so
mhm.
looking for it because everything you do for us, and everything is just phenomenal.
Mm.
We always get something out of it. We always learn. You open us up, you stretch us, because when you had us dancing, I felt so embarrassed. I was like, but this year I'm getting my ass out
Really?
there.
You didn't?
Yes. When we was out there in the yard, I was like, ooh, ooh, because my thing is I'm still releasing out of my body the shame that came from being embarrassed, or
Mhm.
made fun of. It's not necessarily the dancing, but it put me in a space where now I got to do something and people are going to say something about. And so you stretched me and I was like, shit, this year. And then Tamer's coming with, um I think it's gonna be, when you talk about a year of embodiment, I really swear I feel like it's gonna be that, because she's talking about also raising the bar
Mhm.
in some of these ways. You all are bringing something different, but
Mhm.
all of us need that. Like it's almost like we're being enshrined in these practices
That's
so
right.
that we have some tools to go home with.
That's
um
right. Oh, let me, if I can.
yeah,
That's something that's really important that I think we sometimes miss out on. And the I just did a master class, breaking down like religion and God and Black women as God and all that good stuff, because it's true. But
yeah,
one of the things that I think we don't realize, going to church every Sunday, we think that it's the church that gives us that energy, that is the church,
yeah,
right? And what I want women to understand is we brought that with us when we came here. That embodied spirituality was what helped us survive chattel
yes,
slavery. That's what helped us survive that middle passage, right? That comes from deep within the depths of who we are. So when
yes,
we come together in sisterhood for healing, it is so incredibly powerful. It is amplified
yes,
thousands of times over, because we carry that deep embodied connection to spirituality. It's not the building, it's not the book. It's us. We bring that to the institution. So when we're
Yes.
doing that at a retreat where we have freedom, where we are invited to return to our original blueprint ourselves, the healing that happens is so fast. It's so incredibly fast because of what we're doing together in community. And that's really why people need to come to
Yes.
that's why the women need to be there.
They
Bianca said she can
definitely.
feel that energy now.
Oh, yes, because it really is, really, really is powerful. And I mean, I don't know how to say it, it's just extremely powerful. Even when last year and the year before, when Tamer and M both did they did a live Zoom, not in person. We could feel it. And so just imagine all of us are going to be bringing all this energy, surrounding these ladies, holding space for them, all the beautiful things that you're talking about. And we're talking about the embodiment and all the teachings. Like, because I'm on the other end and I kind of know. And even when we have the sleepover, there's something I asked you to do. Not the, well, yeah, the sleepover. And we still going to keep moving from in that space of embodying it, that space of opening ourselves up, that space of saying, hold on. Let me get.
Yeah, let's give us a minute while Tressa calms the dogs down, because apparently they were like, yes, we're in agreement too. Hey, Simi. Oh man. You know that the animals, the spirit of the animal is so amazing. It is so amazing. I,
Yes, they're talking
Simi, I
about, yeah,
can't
we
hear
giving
you.
y'all this. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I couldn't hear Simi. It looked like she was talking, but I couldn't hear her.
Go ahead, Simi. Simi, we can't hear you. She's
You know,
mute.
no, she's not. She's unmuted, but her sound. Just check your sound in the settings, because Simi has a sexy voice, y'all, and you're gonna need to.
Yes,
And even no matter how she speaks, it's just this cadence that she has that kind of makes your organs just go, okay.
yes.
No,
No,
but so
we can't hear you. So yeah, while we're getting Simi on the phone, we're gonna listen to her, and then we got Delores. But yeah, we're just trying to tell the women here why they want to come. This sleepover is gonna be phenomenal. We have a lot of different things going on. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm so excited about this whole experience this year. And then we have the documentary. So I feel like it's all coming together where when it's time for the documentary, the women really are going to be in a space where it's going to shine through. Did Simi drop off?
I think she's gonna come back in.
Okay.
Trusty, you muted again. All right, did you want Dolores to say something? Dolores is here, like, hey, I'm ready to
He-
talk.
Hey, Dolores, come
Yeah, I
on.
just y'all know me. I just got off work. Well, I didn't get off work, but I just pretty much finished up. So my last like 40 minutes is gonna be a breeze. So I ain't gonna worry about that.
Okay.
So what we talking about? Because I kind of had to tune y'all out while I was doing the rest of what I needed to do.
Do you want to tell us about how how the retreat was for you? And then at the end, I'll also talk about you'll be our Uber driver this year. Come on. So
Um,
we can't hear you.
so okay, that's because I ain't talking. Give me a second. I need to,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
sometimes you
were.
just gotta get your words together so you don't just be spitting stuff out. So for me, the retreat was good, but there was a lot of I was surrounded by a lot of feminine energy, which I'm not used to. Um, so while I catered to that part of myself during the retreat, I also left part of myself out as I am more masculine energy. And so it didn't feel like all of me was treated at the retreat, if that makes sense. But I enjoyed it. There wasn't a lot of arguing outside of the little things that occurred, which got over really quick, which I loved. There was a lot to eat, which I loved. It was it was a lot of activities where we all came together, and then we all went and did our separate things, regardless of whether that was in groups or whether that was alone or whether bits and pieces came together and then separated and came back together and then separated. You had all these different avenues where everybody got to feel safe and secure in the environment that they were in, again, outside of some of the things that occurred, but again, that got resolved fairly quickly. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just think, like I told my mama after the retreat, if you guys are gonna have someone like me there, I need some form of activity that also caters to the masculine energy that I am used to being in myself, as I wasn't uncomfortable, but again, I didn't feel like it catered to all of me, if that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
I want to say something to that, and to the activities. I think this year there will be different more activities depending on, because we're also diverse. As far as the masculine feminine thing goes, I think it's just my opinion, but as I've been studying, there's been a lot of discussion about what that is and what it isn't, centering women.
Yeah.
And what we perceive to be masculine energy is feminine too. And I think that message that we've gotten, that feminine is kind of this like softer something, I don't know, and masculine is, we have been leaders, warriors, queens, generals, guards, military, business owners since we were on the continent. So the masculine energy is we encompass whatever we think those things are. Those are us. And there's so much there's so much confusion, I think, around what women need to be, Black women in particular, so that it keeps us spinning, so that we don't own all of who we fully are, and the world remains in disarray, because the world will not be set straight until we're straight. I don't care what anybody else is doing, and I will argue that all day with every human being on this planet. And so I think, yes, we can have more diverse activities for sure, but I want women to know that I have hefty masculine energy inside of me. I'm a very sensual woman, but there's very much of that exists, and coming to the retreat gives us an opportunity to examine the spectrum of parts of ourselves. Take the masculine and feminine out of it. It gives us an opportunity to examine the spectrum of who and how we can and want to and choose to show up in the world. But I think there's a lot of discussion about, as though as women we have to, there's not, to Delores' point, there's not one way for us to be at all, and we carry very much that energy. I would be interested in knowing what types of activities, Delores, do you think would be beneficial to you? Because I think they'd be beneficial to all of the women.
I love what you just said, because like so, and that's what I was trying to explain to my mom, and I think you explained it better than I did, because like I think sexuality is non-binary. I think that we're on a spectrum, right? And so different things work for different people. So you have some mass presenting women, and that's just what society calls us, right? That are a lot more feminine than some femme presenting women, which is what, society calls them just based on how we feel most comfortable. So based on how we dress. So I think you explained that a lot. So, and that's what I was trying to tell my mom. You need more diverse activities that don't just cater to society's idea of feminism and idea of um what a female should be. Because as you grow, you're gonna have a lot more individuals like myself that come in, but you're gonna also have to cater to the fact that some of them are gonna be way more girly than some of y'all, and some of them are gonna be like me, where they're way more masculine than some of the other women there. And we just need activities that cater to both sides, where everybody, like, I got to know some new things about myself there. Don't get me wrong, because I don't really sit in the fem energy like that, and that's just, I guess that's just me, personality wise, right? And so being able to sit in that fem energy and be surrounded by it and learn all these different things and listen to you guys talk and everything like that. Like, okay, I'm learning new things about myself. Like, okay, and then those are things I was able to bring home. So I did appreciate that. But that's what I told her. You need to have more diverse activities where everything is just not catered to societal norms of what a female should be. As far as the activity that I think would most cater to me, I would have to think about that, because at the same time, I don't want it only to be like where we're on the other end, where she's like, oh well, that seems like that would be too masculine, right? Um, and I know it's all definition, society, whatever, but I still want it to be. I don't want anyone to be like I was there, like, oh well, that's not. I wasn't really comfortable doing that, or I think that was too masculine type deal, right? But still be comfortable enough in the environment in order to join in the activity.
All right. I'll say this and then I'll let it go. I don't know where Simi went. I'm just gonna say this real quick and then I will yield my mic. At this retreat, no one has to participate in anything. That's for any retreat. Just so anyone who's listening, if there's an activity that you're not comfortable with for any reason, that's head to your room, hang out, do whatever. Delores under the mom, and I know sometimes moms can be away, and it's like, oh, but so I'm just for the general folks coming. If you don't want to do the boudoir shoot, don't do the boudoir shoot. If you don't want to do a womb clearing, don't do the womb clearing. We would love it if you did, but don't do. Part of this is sovereignty and freedom. Don't do anything that you don't feel aligned with doing.
Yeah, and I was very comfortable there, because, like I said, the one where I was not comfortable at all doing. Like, I literally, right? I participated in where I was there, and I was supporting all the other women there that were going through the ritual, but I did not participate because I was like wholly not comfortable doing it. Like, it was just like my body told me, like, no, we're not gonna do this, and I said, no, I'm not gonna do this. And yeah, my mom did at first say, oh no, just try it, and I was like, no. And then you guys was like, hey, trust the woo woo, and then she was like, okay, you know what, you right. And then her and Miss Santos talked, and she was like, oh yeah, so I know who this rattle is for now. I said, yeah, y'all figured it out.
So yeah, because I know when it came to the ritual, she didn't do the yoga, but she did the photo shoot. She just did it in the way that represented who she was. So I am learning. We're all learning, and like you said, we don't force anybody to do anything. Her shoot came out really nice. And one of the things I learned, that's why everybody need to be here to hear you teach, Maisha, because when you said it, once you started saying it, I got it, because there were, like you said, warriors. There were general. They some of them had stronger energy than others, but it's all part of the feminine. Is just how we chose to show up maybe in this lifetime or whatever. Um, so we'll be considered of that. But we do. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of activities that everybody can participate in if they choose to. We'll be talking about kink and a whole bunch of other stuff. So um yeah, I mean, it can get as deep as anal sex, anything else they want to talk about. It is like this is it.
Okay, come on,
So
let's go with the root chakra clearing. Okay.
yeah, yes, it's gonna be whatever. Yes. So my point was, we not hiding anything. And again, don't nobody have to. They don't have to. And I'm appreciative of Delores, because this is the truth that we want. Like I don't feel like no woman has come up here and said something that wasn't true. But everything, even though it wasn't unfavorable, it might not be favorable because there might be incidents like she did talked about that. Well, that wasn't for me, and it's okay. And so I like that feedback too, because not all the women like there's and I want to say this too. Women are invited. Long as you have vagina, you're invited. I don't care if you're gay, bi, whatever. You're invited. Because, like you said, the healing ourselves, no matter how we identify in the genders or whatever, and no matter where we are on the spectrum of how we consider feminine, there are some core things in all of us that are energetic when it comes to just the healing, so we can be the best version of however we want to show up. So, Simi, I think you had wanted to talk, and
Well,
sorry.
I was listening to Maisha and Lolo, and I was saying hi and all of those things. And I
Oh,
also wanted to know, before I left,
oops,
uh,
sorry.
to come back in, was what activities, because I'm curious myself, for example, what activities would Lolo suggest?
Okay, so for example, right? I have my mom, my sisters, and everybody tell me, "Oh, you think so much like a man. What does that mean?" Okay, so now, mind you, now I know that I may think different from other individuals, right? However, what does thinking like a man mean, right? And I can't ever get like whenever I hear that, it's just like it causes issues with me because I don't understand. And then you can ask them, okay, what does thinking like a man mean? And oh, no, that's why I'm asking a question. You know what I'm saying? So like, I enjoyed the activity that we did last year where we actually wrote in the journals and she had us write down words, you know what I'm saying, that came to our mind and then internalize those words and figure out, how you're feeling about that.
Mhm. We're
Something in
actually going to
regards
have that
to
this year.
yeah, and I think something in regards to
Mhm.
like more masculine statements, you know what I'm saying? Like what masculine statements can you think of, right? And then write those down. And then internalize why you think those statements are masculine. Why do you believe that this is something that only a man would say, something that only a man would do? Why, if someone was to say this, would you say, oh, you think like a man, you speak like a man, right? Because we're all human beings, which means that any language out here that we have is universal. So
Mhm.
why is me telling you something in a certain way
And I
more
know what you're
masculine than
speaking to. You're speaking in regards to, I believe it was Marla who had us write down certain questions to pose ourselves. That was what was the name of her workshop, Tressa?
Girl, I don't remember, but it was good.
It was about, yeah, it was about sexual pleasure. So I'll be coming through with the journal keeping. And I'm gonna let you know right now, it will not be geared towards gender. It would be geared towards universal language about what we all experience as creators.
and that's what I'm talking about right there. Like a lot of the activities that we did last year, I felt were geared towards gender, right? So we were talking in sexuality, but a lot of the sexuality where we're talking about were pleasure as women, which is fine because we're all women and we all take that pleasure. However, it is internalized different ways. So for me, pleasure might be internalized different than for someone who's more feminine, right? But it doesn't negate the pleasure that I feel
Mhm.
with my partner. It's just
Mhm.
internalized different. So I don't think that it should be a gender attached to pleasure. I think, like you said, it should be universal. It should be something that we should be talking about universal. But last year, the feelings that I was having there was, like I said, I felt like I was sitting in more feminine energy. I felt like things were geared more towards femininity
Mhm.
and not towards gender neutral or
Mhm.
universal gender.
So what I will say to that is called Sensually Empowered Woman. So it is going to be about the woman, but the Lord did give me something clear that I really maybe hadn't thought about, because it is Sensually Empowered Woman. But if women like women, or women like men, or women are bi, then the topic should be around maybe more of the whole spectrum versus
Of
just
pleasure.
a pleasure versus just women who like men. Does that make sense? Maisha, I see you. Does that
I
make
was about
sense?
to say, because I say I'm a
Or
woman.
I she was like,
No,
wait,
no,
it's called
women.
no,
sensual.
but no. But that's not what I meant,
I get
Delores.
what you're saying, Tressa. You're
Yeah.
saying not centered around the woman's anatomy, but just
Right, or
pleasure in general.
well, not only pleasure in general, because when I think about pleasure, um, I think pleasure is inclusive of sexual pleasure. So, outside of sexual pleasure, all of us could probably agree it's going to look different, and we're going to enjoy these things. But when I think Dolores is also speaking to sexual pleasure, she's still a woman, but depending on however, but each woman has what their preference is. And for some women, if they like other women, it may look different than when some women who like just like men or whatever. And so I think that she's saying, hey, let's have an inclusive conversation, make sure that we don't just leave us out. Does that make sense?
It
um
does.
So you said pleasure outside of sexual pleasure, but pleasure in general
Pleasure in
that's
is
what we're
general.
talking about,
universal.
Dolores. No, no,
Right.
right, that's what
So,
we're talking
right, you
about.
said sensually empowered woman, right? But when I think
Yeah,
sensual empowered woman, I don't think just in terms of sexuality. I think in terms of confidence. I think in terms of the way I speak. I think in terms of the way I interact with individuals. With that confidence that brings people towards me, because the sensuality that I have as a woman is so is that light, for lack of a better word, is so bright that it brings people to me. So when I think of sensually empowered woman, to me, anyways, it encompasses everything, not just sexual pleasure, which I get
that's
what
what
you're
I
saying.
said,
But what
Lo.
I'm
Yeah,
saying is,
I think that we
That's what I
definitely
said.
touched on that at the
That's what I
retreat. It just looks different for each person. I would
Yeah, but I
definitely
don't
say
think
at
we
the
talked as
retreat.
much about Simi, honestly, as much about where I'm hearing Dolores coming from that angle. But we tried to make sure, but it's growing. I'm learning, you're learning, Maisha. All of us are not the same that we were last year. And to have this feedback is good, because honestly, when
Mhm.
I was thinking about Centrally Empowered Woman, even though I mostly thought about woman to man relationships in terms of sex. But in terms of everything else, like Dolores talked about, and I don't think she heard me when I said it, it's inclusive of it, but it's so much more. Pleasure is so much bigger than sex, but we don't want to leave out sex, because Maisha's gonna teach us why when she get there. But it's a beautiful it's a beautiful experience.
So
so
yeah,
I'm
let
Um,
not
me.
saying leave out sex. I'm also not saying leave out men, because I mean we also have our avenues on this end. You know what I'm saying? That will take us kind of that way, but not fully that way, as we are just not made that way. So I'm not talking about leave out men either. I'm talking about as in all inclusive, right? Like Miss Simi said, let's make it gender neutral, so that way when we start having a conversation, regardless of who brought up, whether it's men, women, whether it's cosplay, whether it's BDSM, regardless of what it is, we're all able to speak to whatever
our experiences
uh,
are.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, not even our experience. We can also speak to our interests, because
Yeah.
sometimes everything is not about experiences. Sometimes you're interested in it and you might want to get somebody else's opinion in regards to it, pros, cons, different things like that. Someone who's actually been there, done that, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like, oh, I'm going to go out and do it, but it's like it's something I'm interested in. And maybe if I get another perspective, then I'll be more knowledgeable for future choices or decisions that I decide to make. And that's the
Okay.
type of conversation instead of just focusing around, like you said, heteronormative relationships and things like that.
Thank you. Okay. So next question. Anybody got something for Delores? This was good though. What do you think, Maisha and Simi?
No, I'm totally with
Oh,
it.
yeah. No,
I'm
yeah, no.
hearing what Lolo is saying, and yeah, I'm in alignment with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's two parts of it for me. Because I hear what's being said. And I mean, even though I've had some amazing experiences with women and keep the door open always in the future for all of that, along with BDSM and all those other things, I speak from a heteronormative perspective because I tell people that's the lane I live in.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Mm-hmm.
the lane that I live in. But I also always say, and take this and flip it for however you need it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right. So flip it for however it's gonna work for you. Right. Like
Mhm.
whatever I'm saying that may involve a man and a woman, it can still work for a woman and a woman and a woman. Right. The embodiment
Yes.
parts
Mhm.
might be slightly different, but the energetics of it still work. Right. So there's that part, and I mean, and this is Lolo needs to come every year, but and there are retreats that are geared more towards the full spectrum.
Yes.
And I don't think every person's retreat needs to be geared towards the full spectrum, but I do think there need to be spaces that are geared towards the full
Towards the
spectrum. And I say
spectrum.
that
Yeah.
because me doing a retreat, I'm probably gonna gear it more traditionally, right?
Yes.
However, I always tell people where they can find spaces that gear towards everybody. Because that might
And
not, it's just like I said, I've had some experiences with women. People be like, oh, are you bi? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, are you queer? I'm like, no, because for me, queer is weird. Like that word in my generation doesn't mean the same thing. So I would never, that just wouldn't work for me. Right. And most of the time, give me peen. Like all day long, I want peen. The other one is an option. But so it's
and I
just
love it because
not my
you
lane.
just right now that's not my lane, but at the same time, one of the things that I do love is that you said, hey, a couple things. You said, hey, take it and flip it. Like
Right.
I have someone like there, and I'm not calling any names, but I know this year, and I've tried to encourage Delores to come because there will be, there are more women that who maybe a little bit further to the other end of the spectrum who are starting to show up because they want to heal too. They want to heal because it's not just about the sexuality part. And I just love it. When Delores was there last year, everybody embraced her. Her and Jay had so much fun that we got what we needed, no matter how it showed up. Each one of us, we all were there, and you found that you got what you needed. Oh my God, these dogs! I want to just scream
Well,
sometimes.
right. Because like, so for instance, let's say I do talk about oral sex. Let's say I do, maybe, because that's what Tressa would like.
Me
I'm
too.
my expertise.
Yes, I do want to know
Okay,
about it. I ain't gonna lie.
my expertise is in one area, but however, we live. I'm putting my business out there. However, I can't speak to the other side. Okay, we can talk hot dogs and tacos if that's what we're talking about. Like I can do
Yes,
both if that's what's
You
necessary.
mean tacos and
But see,
tacos?
him. But see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I can talk about hot dogs and tacos too, but my hot dog is a little different from yours, okay? Because my hot dogs is movable. You know what I'm saying? And then, like,
But the hot dog,
there
what?
are certain times
The hot dog moves.
in relationships that, you know what I'm saying, you get into
Wait,
that
no,
space
hold
where
on. Your hot. Oh,
that
never mind.
might,
Go
you
on.
know what I'm saying, be where you're at. And so, you know what I'm saying, like, so we can talk about it because I'm
it,
willing to talk about it, right?
you
But that's what I'm saying. It needs to be gender neutral where we still talk about the tacos. You know what I'm saying? We ain't had
Lolo,
no tacos last year.
Lolo,
With no tacos.
Lolo. Now, if there isn't an expert present that could speak to it better, you are definitely open and we welcome for
You.
you to share and have the confidence to communicate what's on your heart and your mind about what you want to speak about that we may be able to contribute
And maybe not.
or
But
just
guess what?
or just allow you to educate us.
I love
Because
that.
we might have had some of the same thoughts. And I will say this. I cannot, no, I can't say I can't wait. I am so excited for the sleepover because we are doing something that we have not done before. And it kind of speaks to this experience that we're talking about. Not necessarily the particular experience, Delores per se, but
Mhm.
Sim, you know what I'm talking about. We talked about
Mhm.
giving this space. And so I don't want to give it away, but there's going to be a certain space that's
Mhm.
going to be that's going to support these women in their opportunity to
To
speak.
share.
Besides dancing and a couple
Yeah.
other things we got planned.
Without people giving
Judging.
their opinion or
Yeah,
cutting
nobody
you
can give your
off.
opinion.
Yeah,
No.
people will be able to speak and just say what they want to share.
And
Yes.
that's what I loved about last year. All of us got to speak, and then we got to speak to each other instead of at each other. Like, there's a difference. And a lot of people don't realize there's a difference, but there's a difference between you speaking to me and you speaking at me because at some point in the conversation, if I'm not feeling like I'm being heard, you're no longer talking to me. You're talking at me because I'm off somewhere else, I'm doing something else. And I felt like we was all invested last year. We all got to talk. I got to talk to all of you guys, all of you guys. I got to have different conversations. I got to have different point of view conversations. I got to hear you guys talk to each other about different point of views and different conversations. And wow, like everybody got passionate about how they were feeling, the conversation never got to the point where anyone was arguing. It never got to the point where there were bad vibes. It never got to the point where now you're just feeling like you're in the house wholly uncomfortable because somebody is not feeling somebody else because of something that was said. So I enjoyed that part as well.
Yeah, I do too. I'm super excited. We do have another
I
ritual
saw
this
a
time.
picture of the house too. I think
Yes.
Ariel has showed a picture of the house
She's
that
showing
we're going to
pictures
be
of the
in this
house.
year.
Yeah,
Can you put them back up again?
we were in the midst of our genitalia conversation, which is making
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
my
okay.
mouth
y'all.
Yeah.
all tingle
I was
now. My
trying to
mouth
load
sweat.
it up. I was trying to load the pictures up, and it is not
Oh,
letting me be great today. I'll try again. Just give
oh,
me.
And we have
Okay, yeah,
and we have
yeah, but
Kima. We have
Hmm.
Kima here. Y'all peeking. We have Kima on. Hello.
hey, how are
hi,
you?
Kima.
Well, and everybody.
Hey, thank you for showing up. And thank you for everybody else that's out there listening to us. This is going to be amazing. It keeps getting better and better and better. And the same way Dolores was allowed to come in and feel safe enough to say not only, I mean, say how she feels to all of us. No, we don't even know. I mean, we didn't know what she was going to say, but everybody holds space that she's important enough that if she needed to say something, we all heard her. And that's what the kind of vibes we have. We're going to have a sleepover. We're working on this pool party for sure. What I do want to say is there's a lot of downtime. There's always been downtime in between different things where Dolores kind of spoke to it that if you wanted to be out in the jacuzzi or in the sun or just sitting around playing a game, like there was times in the first retreat, we would all just sometimes you see two or three over here talking or laughing. There was just all of those beautiful times where, we can just enjoy each other or enjoy ourselves. Um, there's gift baskets. We have some of the same people. Tanya's going to be gifting us a couple things this year. We have sponsors, all kind of sponsors, all kind of things going on. Um, what else can I say? I talked about the documentary calling The Darren LaBelle Means the Pretty One. And we're going to be talking about how we see ourselves through the eyes of the camera, after, particularly after we've experienced some of the things that Maisha and them are going to be having with us. Simi is journaling. She'll be teaching us about journaling. Maisha will, she said she told us about the oral sex for doing one of our events, but she's going to be doing something around helping us anger, embody it, who we are, our sensuality. I'm not sure what Tama's going to be doing, other than the fact that I know she's going to teach us how to twerk. She said that. But she always comes very powerful. And I know to this day, some of the women from the first 2 years are still remembering things that she taught us. Um, and then there'll be M. Rain. Normal will be doing the ritual. And I guess did I name everybody who's
Oh,
gonna
is
be
that the
there?
pool?
Yes, girl. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, girl, let me tell you, Maisha, that pool is so big it wraps around. There is another house on the side of the house. I have given it to one of our guests, and so it wraps around the side of the house, and that was because her husband will be with her, so he'll be over there. But it wraps, it just goes. See how it wraps around the house?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, and
This is
so
beautiful.
this house is and it has 32 beds. Oh, something we did not talk about. We mentioned we mentioned the photographer a little bit. She'll be doing, again, you can do nude pictures, you can do pictures in lingerie, you can do pictures in clothes. You can do however you want it. Last year Delores looked so cute and she had no lingerie on, and she just looked dope. Let's see. Um we have a videographer that will be capturing us for next year, so we'll have footage, but also he will be doing the videos for the upcoming documentary that'll be in 2025. There's just a lot. I give a lot. I give a lot of in the gifty goodie bags. I want y'all to know that too. And don't let me forget, Simi will be hosting this year, meaning you guys can come and ask her. She will make sure that whatever you need, you will have. Maylita SImmons and Erica Johnson will be the chefs this year. We'll have two chefs. Is there anything else that y'all think that I need to talk about that I left out? But look at that house. One of
Talk
the things I
about
want.
the scholarships. I'm gonna bring that up.
Okay. So thank you. We have scholarships. If you Tama donated, I think it was 1250. You have to go to her site and take a let me make sure I got this right. You have to go to her site and join her group, Let the Wound Be Heard, and then you just have to go on her university. You can take a free class and then just let her know, and she'll let me know. And once, you have to pay within I think it's 3 days of you saying, hey, I want the scholarship. So that was that. And then we have a couple more scholarships. Just check in with me when this is over. And you can reach me on Facebook. Delores, and she has a company with her brother-in-law, which is her sister's husband. They have a company called Stitch. So hold that right there. I'm going to get something they're doing. She's doing right now, she's been doing sweatshirts for me for sew. And I'm gonna show y'all one of the sweatshirts. So
Question was asked, is it available for people on a payment plan already? I'm not sure what that was in response to, because I know there's a delay, but maybe someone's asking
Ye-
about the plan.
yes, we still have the payment plan. And next week is the last quickie chat. And so they'll have to talk to me and we'll figure out what that looks like. It is still available on the payment plan, not the scholarship though, but the other, we can talk about it.
So I don't know if you answered the question, says if people are on a payment plan, do they still qualify for a scholarship?
No, I'm sorry, I don't mean it like that, but no, because they have already somebody donated this at the end. If we had not had somebody donate it, we would have they would have had to pay for it anyway. So no, they can't go off on the scholarship.
Okay. So these are new people that come through at this point, qualify.
Yes, and then they have to pay their balance in full upfront.
Okay.
So Tama had a 1250. That means it left 1250. So they have to pay their 1250 up front.
Got you. Okay. I'm looking forward to exploring this house.
Me too. This is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, that pool
Yeah.
alone. Yes,
Okay,
the
so now is
photos
that
that can
is
be
that for
taken.
all of the scholarships where they're not eligible if they're on a payment plan? I thought that was just for SImmons.
Okay, no, so no, the rest of them they will be able to. They do you have to be new to get the scholarship, so you do have to be new. And then so that if it's like a $500 scholarship and they have to pay a certain amount, then we can still work it out on the payment plan. But those who get that $1,250 scholarship has to pay right up front. Okay, no, I'm not trying to leave. How do I to stay in the studio? Okay, can y'all see this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want that sweatshirt.
So here now we have black, gray, I'm sorry, pink and white, but I didn't bring the pink and white one over here. But can y'all see this one?
That's nice.
Okay, and we have a couple more different we're gonna be having a couple more of different styles of embroidered. Not everything is gonna be embroidered, but I really like how they turned out. So we will be selling some of those. Simi has already graced us with the theme. The theme this year is what's it called, Simi? She did the t-shirt theme. I'm trying to think of what the theme was called.
The Darren LaBelle?
No, the theme for the t-shirt. When you did the
Oh,
t-shirt,
Juicy Frequency.
Juicy Frequency is the theme for this year. So we have got the t-shirts all set to go to print. And so again, I need to know this next week will be the last Friday that we will be coming on Quickie Live, and I will be shutting down the opportunity to come. And it'll just have to be everybody have to come next year who have not decided they want to come this year.
Wonderful. So it's Kima. Kima is on here. I'm nosy, and when people show up and they want to be on camera, I'm thinking they want to have something to say. Kima, are you coming to the retreat this year? Is that why you're on this live stream? Are you one of our guests? Can we say hello to you now?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm in and out, but I've been listening to Tima and I think I don't want to say it wrong. Tressa. And I'm intrigued. So I know I have something planned, but then I gotta hope I can come back, and then it's the money thing. But even if I don't come this year, then next year. But yeah, I think I need to be around. So
Yes, you do. You need to be around. I'm telling all the women right now, like you don't want to miss it. So if you and that's the reason why I had some of the payment plans and things, because I felt like for those women who actually said I feel like I need to be there, I made it possible um several ways. Some of those possibilities have gone out the window because we're so close to the retreat where there were more possibilities, but there's still opportunities and ways that women can get in the retreat. And I remember when my spirit led me um years ago to go to a particular retreat, and I kept telling the lady nah. She was like, but I just feel like you're supposed to be there. I'm like, okay, nah, but maybe next time. And it was then she made it so easy. I think back then it was about 10 years ago, $800. And I was like, I don't have it. She said, I don't care if you pay 50, put $200 down and pay $50 till you pay it off. And that's exactly that was the beginning of a breakthrough for me. And then that next year, other stuff started breaking because I was ready to run to get with a group of sisters to hold space and do this inner work. And it has shifted me. I feel like it is has been part of why I'm here doing the work I'm doing. So for the women out there who say, hey, I feel like I'm supposed to be there, and you keep just pushing yourself back and all those things, don't self-betray. You're going to find a lot like sisterhood. Dolores is not the type that has really be around a lot of people, but she still talks about all the fun that she's had at that retreat. Now that might have been different if it was May or the twins, but Dolores is usually, she kind of likes her space, and she likes, she likes her space. She likes to be around people, and she likes to be around people, but she'll tell you, I'd rather be in my own space. And to this day, she's still talking about how much fun she had, how much Erica and different women were in tune to her, how she enjoyed this. She didn't want to do the yoga. That was fine. She like, I'm not doing that yoga. And she would just sit back there and watch us. And that was fine.
Dresser, can I
So yeah.
I want to speak to the investment piece to women
Okay.
who are listening. And as Black women, there's a part of us that feels like things like retreats are frivolous. Things like our pleasure are extra. There are some of us who feel like we have to earn it, that we don't deserve this. We will shell out a lot of money for bundles and bags and shoes and things that make us look good, acceptable to society. We will shell out lots of money for vacations so that we can post them so people can see how well we're doing. There's a lot that we do that's forward facing in order for us to be seen as okay. But when it comes to our own internal healing, even our own physical healing, just going to the doctor, we will put that off because it's based on us. And what that really says is, I'm not that important. Everybody else is important. How everyone else sees me is important, but I myself am not that important. And the reason why it's important for women to come to retreats like this is because we need to learn how to center ourselves. Because when we do that, everyone else around us does benefit. But we
Yes.
absolutely need to invest in
Yes.
our own well-being, no matter what the cost is. And this was something that I had to learn. And once we start investing in ourselves, it shifts our abundance. It shifts the money that flows. It shifts how things show up for us. And we don't have to work as hard and as tirelessly and do as much on our own, but we have to be willing to let go of that too. We have to be
Yes.
willing to let go of the idea that we're supposed to shoulder everything. And that's why this retreat in particular is important. I have not seen anything, and I've done retreats. I haven't seen anything like this that allows Black women to come into their essence in play and relax. We need to invest in ourselves.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, Maisha. I've been to many retreats over the years, and I have invested. And I cannot, and don't get me wrong, I've learned things and I've gone through some intense healing at these retreats that I've been to. But the full value of what I've witnessed everyone receiving at Sensually Empowered Woman Retreat, I did not receive that from previous retreats that I've been to. I'm really big on my accommodations. I'm big on that. So this definitely hit home for me where I could lay my head down somewhere where I felt comfortable and that is I'm definitely getting my money's worth. So that's just one thing. Okay. The second thing is what am I receiving that I can take back with me and become what I set out to become and be and experience the fulfillment in life that I intended. That's so important because you're not going to come to the retreat and leave the same person. It's just not set up that way. You are going to leave better than how you came. And if I'm going to spend this kind of money, I want to make sure that I'm going to I want to make sure that I got more than what I paid for, and I can definitely say that that's what you're going to receive. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I've seen it all. So I want to congratulate Tressa for being the type of person to ensure that when people walk away, they're walking away better than how they came in, and being able to take that with them and continue to transform their lives, continue to heal, and even invite other women to come next year.
So thank you. Like, y'all, I'm filling up. You know, I'm a crybaby, but I do want to say thank y'all, because what I do know, this retreat has always been a space for me, for women to have time to heal, to have that space, that time, and tools. And it is also because of women like you, Maisha, women like you, Simi, and all the other women who have showed up for the women, because I was given the vision, but I understand it takes a village, you know, having this support, to have women that love women. You love women, Maisha love women, you love the sisters, you want them to be to embody not only sensuality and pleasure, but the many forms, and teaching them how and what. And so I am grateful for both of you. I'm grateful for Tasha, who helps put this on all the time, and for all the sisters who showed up, even Delores, and everybody that showed up and said, hey, this was my experience. um I'm grateful for, I'm just filled with gratitude right now. I'm just really filled with gratitude that and that's why I tell these women out there, and Maisha, thank you for what you said, and Simi, because each one of y'all spoke to a different aspect of it, where sometimes we don't think or haven't thought it was that important. And that's exactly what we need. That's why I feel like it ain't that important, because oftentimes, like, the very thing you need, you kind of like, you stepping back away from it. Or, and I remember for myself, I remember about 8 years ago, I said I wanted an experience. I was coming out of my shell, honestly. And I always kept telling myself I could learn much more fast if I had a group than I can singly by myself. So I started trying to figure out what that's going to look like. It started off as a book club. And then all of these other things started happening. And today we're here. But I understand the healing can take faster, because we're like wombs for each other, and we are pushing, and we're birthing, and we're midwifing. And it's not just coming from one side, but you got that you need. We're rooting for each other to succeed. So I'm going to close out with telling the women, like, you don't want to miss it. If you really feel like you're supposed to be there, call me. Like, and um yeah, I'm like, if I wasn't me, I would want to be me. I'm ready. I am so ready for this retreat, because I feel like I need it. But at the same time, to get to hug on my Isha for 4 or 5 days. And I want y'all to just also know, before I close, it is in gratitude to my Isha, when we had 3 days, 4 days, 3 nights. And she was like, we need another day. And that's how we ended up with 5 days, 4 nights, because she understood the assignment. She understood that we couldn't push everything in one thing. And she understood too that it was going to grow. So for that, thank you. Thank you, Simi, for all you put into it. And then I just want to invite everybody to our last Quickie chat next Friday. Same time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And that will be our last one. And at the end of that day, that weekend, I will be closing out, and I won't be accepting any more women for 2024. All right, thank you, ladies. Thank you for showing
You're
up, Miss
welcome.
Taylor. Yes, I'll see all of y'all next time around.
Bye,
Yes. Good night,
everyone.
all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.